I am genuinely confident that I have the gayest coming out story ever. And I didn't even plan it, it just kind of happened. My family is very Christian conservative. So I didn't come out to my mom until I was like 21. Then like 6 months later, I came out to my dad. Before I came out to my parents, they knew I was very heavily involved in the drag community here in LA. So when I was home visiting for Thanksgiving, I made them come to a drag show with me. And I'm like not too incredibly sure what led up to this, but my dad had said something. I genuinely don't remember what it was, but it made me really upset for some reason. So my dad gets up to go to the bathroom, and my mom could see that I was clearly upset. So she asks me, "What's up?" And like my heart is pounding. And as I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna say, this queen comes out, and she starts performing Born This Way by Lady Gaga. And I shit you not, as soon as the words, "I'm gay," leave my mouth, this queen, literally out of nowhere, rips out a pride flag. To this day, Born This Way will make me cry. Hello. I used to work at a Starbucks inside of a Target, and I had a girlfriend for about half the time that I was working there. And like all but one of my other coworkers was straight. And when I started working there, one of my coworkers was pregnant, and after she had her baby and came back from maternity leave, a different coworker of mine became pregnant. And one day, I was working a shift with both of them. One of our regulars came in. Her name was Terry, and she actually just worked in a different part of the store. And she was older and kind of rude, so none of us really liked her all that much. And because I was always the nicest, my coworkers had me go take her order. And as I'm taking Terry's order, she says to me, "I don't know what's in the water over there at Starbucks, but you all seem to be getting pregnant. And you should be careful because you could be next." So I just stared at her, and then I said, "If I'm pregnant, I will have a lot of explaining to do to my girlfriend." She just walked away really awkwardly after that. Hi. I graduated from high school about 5 years ago, and I used to wear makeup every single day. And I didn't wear as much makeup as I do now, but it still took me like a half hour every single morning. And it was still more than what the average girl at my high school would wear on a daily basis. So it still seemed like a hell of a lot of makeup to everyone else. They really should see me now. Anyway, I had a lot of classes with this kid named Dylan. Dylan, if you're ever watching this, fuck you, Dylan. One day while we were sitting in Algebra 2, Dylan turns to me and he says, "Do you want to know the quickest way to lose 10 pounds? I ask him how. He says, "Take off all that makeup." So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're going to comment on my TikToks and say I wear a lot of makeup or that I'm cake-faced, you're going to want to get more creative. Because I have heard it all before. And clearly, nothing anyone has said to me has made me want to wear less makeup. Hi, I have a large group of guy friends, and they're all gay, making me the only one in our friend group that likes women. However, because of how much makeup I wear and how I dress, I am very straight passing. So one night, after one of our friends finished hosting a drag show, my whole friend group decided to head on over to another one of our friends' apartment. In the neighborhood that my friends live in, parking is kind of hard to find. So the friend that I drove with, we had to park like a couple streets down. And the friend that I drove with is a drag queen. But when my friend is out of drag, she is a whole ass man. And at this point, it was probably like 1 a.m. And in the distance, we see this woman that's walking over to her house. And she's full on staring at us. So when we go to walk by her, she looks us up and down. And she says, "Damn, Foxy Mama, you are getting it good tonight." And although I very much appreciate the compliment, there wasn't a single person that I was with that night that was buying what I was selling. Hi. I used to work at a Starbucks inside of a Target. And I used to have a manager named Debbie. We called her Deborah. She didn't really like that. That's not the point. And one day I was working with her, and I had a full face of makeup on. So she asked me why. So I tell her it's because I'm going to my friend's drag show after my shift was over. So then she looks at me and she goes, "Oh my god, I love drag. My son, he's gay." So because she was whispering, I was like, "Oh, like, is he not out yet or something?" And she's like, "Oh, no, he's out. He's married and everything." Then I ask her, "Then why are we whispering?" And she said she was whispering because she didn't want to offend any of our guests in the lobby. Bitch, what? So then I say to her, "Deborah, literally last week, you told everybody the reason that we keep anti-diarrhea medicine on hand is because you have a tendency to shit yourself. I'm pretty sure telling everyone that you regularly shit yourself is more offensive, Deborah." Hi, I'm gay, but I didn't come out to anyone until I was like 20. So I didn't go on my first real date with a girl until I was about 21. And I found her on Tinder, which, never again. And we only went on 2 dates. And our first date went perfectly fine. Like, we went to Starbucks and got coffee. We talked for a few hours, and then when I dropped her off at home, we kissed. And it was a good date, so we both agreed to go on a second one. But our second date was like a complete 180. She like didn't talk almost the entire time. And when she did talk, she would say shit like, I don't like Lady Gaga. I heard Elton John is a terrible person. And she would just shit on anything that I liked. So after feeling like she just did not want to be anywhere near me, I made up some excuse to take her back home and end the date. So as I'm dropping her off, I park my car and I look over at her. She is full on sobbing. And after about 20 minutes of consoling her, she kissed me and got snot all over my face. There was not a third date. Hi. I've already said this before, but I haven't really kept in contact with anyone I went to high school with. And I also wouldn't consider myself too incredibly close with any of them while I was in high school. But that's mainly because I just kept to myself. So I'm always a little caught off guard when the guys I went to high school with start DMing me. Keep in mind that I was ugly as hell in high school. My glow up did not happen until I moved 1,000 miles away to go to college. And I specifically started getting DMs from this one guy I went to high school with about 2 years ago. And I only knew this guy because we did theater once together. And he started like talking about how he always thought that I was attractive. But like he always had a girlfriend in high school. And none of them looked anything like me. And he saw some pictures of me with drag queens, so he started asking me about it. And at the time, I identified as bisexual, so I tell him that. And he responds by sending me a picture of the girl he was dating at the time. I reply by saying cute, thinking that he was just innocently showing me her. Nope. This man wanted to set up an arrangement between me, him, and his girlfriend. Hi. So I've been thinking about my high school experience recently. I graduated back in 2015. And I uncovered this memory of this teacher that I just hated. It was my US history teacher, and he was very Catholic. And I'm not really sure who started this, but all my friends in the class started calling me Pope Karlee. And every day when I would walk into class, I would bless them. And he hated that. Anyway, we were talking about World War II in class one day, and he passed around a sheet of paper, and it had a map of Japan on it. And I just figured we were doing like a geography quiz. Nope. He wanted us to label where if we were the president, we would drop. I absolutely refused to do the assignment. And when I told him I was uncomfortable doing it, he called attention to the entire class so he could make fun of me in front of everybody and call me a pansy. I told him that speaking ill of the Pope was blasphemous, and then I blessed him. Hi. I used to work at a Starbucks inside of a Target, and I absolutely hated working there. Our management sucked. I had a very homophobic coworker, so many Karens, so I eventually quit. And in my last 2 weeks, you could not pay me enough to care about anybody that was less than kind to me. It made my last few Karen interactions very fun. I think it was like my second to last shift, and we closed in like 20 minutes. And this Karen came in with her 2 kids. Her kids are looking at the pastry case. She tries to order some chocolate chip cookies. So I apologize and I tell her, like, sorry, we're all sold out. And before I can say anything else, she asks, well, what's that in the display case? And while I'm explaining to her that the food is old and expired, she starts yelling about how I got her kids' hopes up. She yelled at me and called me cruel. I stop her right there and I say, I do not care about your children. She huffed off to go find a manager. But what were they gonna do? Fire me? Go ahead. I would have loved to not show up to my last shift.